In today's episode of The Story of Animals, we turn our attention to a bird that is both admired and misunderstood. A creature of sharp intelligence, striking beauty, and a reputation for mischief. Yes, today we're talking about the magpie. Now, at first glance, you might dismiss the magpie as just another noisy black and white bird flapping about in the neighborhood. But look closer, and you'll see that magpies are anything but ordinary. They are tricksters, thieves, singers, and geniuses all rolled into one feathery package. So let's unravel the fascinating life of the magpie. Magpies are members of the crow family, which already tells you they're clever. But unlike their all-black cousins, magpies come dressed as if they've been invited to the fanciest gala in town. Their plumage is a stunning mix of black and white, with an iridescent sheen of green and blue when the light hits just right. They aren't just dressed to impress humans. This striking look also makes them one of the easiest birds to recognize in the wild. In fact, for centuries, magpies have found their way into folklore, art, and even superstition. Now, here's where things get fun. Magpies have a bit of a bad boy reputation. For centuries, people believed magpies were obsessed with shiny things, stealing jewelry, coins, and anything that sparkled. While science shows they may not be as obsessed as the legends suggest, they are naturally curious. And that curiosity can sometimes look a lot like petty theft. Imagine leaving your keys on the garden table and coming back to find them missing. Who's the culprit? No burglar, no raccoon, just a magpie with a new toy. Here's the real kicker. Magpies are some of the smartest birds in the world, and when I say smart, I mean they can recognize themselves in a mirror. Now, that might not sound impressive, but think about it. Dogs can't do it. Cats can't do it. Even some monkeys struggle with the concept. But magpies, they look in the mirror and go, "Yep, that's me." Scientists call this self-recognition, and it's a huge sign of advanced intelligence. This puts magpies in an elite club of animals that truly understand their own existence. Not bad for a bird that most people think is just noisy. And noisy they are, but in the best way. Magpies don't just squawk or call like some of their relatives. They're excellent mimics. They can copy other birds, animals, and even human sounds. Imagine walking down the street and hearing your ringtone, only to realize it's coming from a tree branch above. Magpies are also social birds, and their chatter isn't random. They use a wide range of calls to warn each other about predators, to defend territory, and even to gossip about the neighbors. Well, the bird version of gossip, anyway. One of the most unusual things about magpies is their memory. They're notorious for remembering human faces. If you annoy a magpie, perhaps by getting too close to its nest, it may hold a grudge, and not just for a day, but for years. Some magpies even pass along this information to others, meaning you could have an entire gang of birds remembering your face and plotting aerial revenge. Suddenly, wearing a hat seems like a good idea. Because of their intelligence and their habit of popping up around humans, magpies have taken on special meaning in cultures worldwide. In some traditions, spotting a magpie is considered lucky. In others, it's a sign of misfortune. A famous nursery rhyme even predicts your future depending on how many magpies you see. One for sorrow, two for joy, and so on. Whether you see them as tricksters, guardians, or omens, magpies have always been more than just birds in the background. So, what makes magpies unusual? Their ability to recognize themselves, their curious streak, their mimicry, their fashion sense, their memory for faces. All combined, these traits make magpies stand out as some of the most remarkable birds in the animal kingdom. Next time you hear a loud chattering from a nearby tree, don't just roll your eyes. You might be in the presence of a creature that is watching you, recognizing you, and maybe even planning its next shiny heist. And that concludes today's episode of the story of animals, the magpie. Now, it's time to see how much you've learned from today's episode. We've got 3 fun trivia questions coming up. Ready? Let's start. Question 1. What unusual trait makes magpies stand out among birds? A. They can fly backwards. B. They can recognize themselves in a mirror. C. They can sleep while flying. D. They can dive underwater to hunt fish. The correct answer is B. They can recognize themselves in a mirror. This rare ability, called self-recognition, places magpies in the company of some of the most intelligent animals on Earth. It shows they don't just react to the world, they actually understand their place in it. Let's move on to the next question. Question 2. What reputation do magpies have when it comes to objects? A. They hoard sticks for fun. B. They steal shiny items out of curiosity. C. They bury food underground like squirrels. D. They collect feathers from other birds. The correct answer is B. They steal shiny items out of curiosity. While not as obsessed as myths suggest, magpies are curious and often attracted to unusual objects, including sparkling trinkets. This curiosity is a sign of their problem-solving nature, always exploring and testing their environment. Let's move on to the last question for this episode. Question 3. Why should you be careful around nesting magpies? A. They can hypnotize predators. B. They dive bomb people they remember as threats. C. They lure predators away with mimicry. D. They camouflage their nests with mud. The correct answer is B. They dive bomb people they remember as threats. Magpies are highly protective of their nests and can remember human faces for years, sometimes rallying others against the same person. This loyalty to family and territory shows just how serious these birds are about survival. Great job if you got all 3 questions correct. But even if you missed one, you've still learned some amazing things about the clever, unusual magpie. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.